All right. In that case, please welcome, where'd you go? Bernardo, back up to the microphone for part 2 of their epic poem.
Thank you. So, continuing with my poem called Perseus and Medusa. We are now in chapter 8, and chapter 8 is called Perseus Battles Medusa. When we last left our hero, Perseus was flying north. The giant Atlas told him the way to Medusa, and the western nymphs gave him a magic hat that makes him vanish. He still has his winged shoes that enable him to fly, his crystal sword, his brazen shield, and Athena's goatskin cape. We pick up the story as he flies invisible to the Gorgon's lair. Then Perseus went boldly upward into heaven's height. Again he found the shapeless land submerged in endless night. Above its empty banks he rushed beyond the sea once more, and passed the 3rd year of his journey, racing off to war. At length he heard the sound of rustling feathers down below, whereat his shoes slowed down, for they had borne him near his foe. And Perseus beheld below an awesome winged horse. Medusa was the splendid creature's strange maternal source, for this was far-famed Pegasus, the wonder of the air, and Perseus resolved at once to take him from her lair. The hero doffed his magic hat, descended from the sky, and stood before that mighty horse, who looked him in the eye. "O wondrous horse," the hero said, "art thou so keen of mind, that thou hast understanding of the speech of humankind?" The horse blew out a gentle snort to signify assent, whose face as well told Perseus it was intelligent. "Then I," he said, "shall rescue thee from this unwholesome place, so harsh thou canst not even look thy mother in the face. I'll bring thee to the world of earth, which glows with rays of light, but first I must destroy the fiend that stops thy wings from flight." The hero took the horse's straps, and soon he was unbound, whom foul Medusa long ago had fastened to the ground. Then Perseus heard hissing sounds nearby, and in surprise he whirled around and used his brazen shield to guard his eyes. He felt a mighty blow upon the shield, and falling back, he hit the ground uninjured, but he reeled from the attack. "Thou wretched thief," the hero heard the fearsome Gorgon cry, "hast thou appeared to rob and strike me down? Then thou shalt die." Then Perseus pushed off the ground, and rising in the air, he looked upon his shield and saw his foe reflected there. "Thou enemy of every race," he cried, "behold thy doom." Medusa then beheld the hero, outlined by the moon. "Believest thou," she hissed, "that flight shall keep thee safe from me? My sisters too have wings, behold, the talons fly at thee." Then Perseus espied the other Gorgons flying swift, whose bodies looked like swine with mighty wings to give them lift. Their feet were like Medusa's hands and gleamed with brazen claws, and as they neared, their fangs were flashing white within their jaws. With awful speed they rushed on him like eagles on a hare, and Perseus was shocked to see such beings beat the air. Then bracing up, the hero cried, "Brave shoes, now bear me well! Our flying foes are on my heels like mongrels out of hell!" And then he moved his feet as if to flee from them on high, but donned his magic hat instead and vanished from the sky. His Gorgon foes were stupefied to see him fade from sight, and Perseus was quick to see his chance to win the fight. He bounded toward Medusa, raised his sword above his head, and brought it down upon her neck, and lo, the beast was dead. And as her body hit the ground, her sisters in the air whirled round and saw Medusa's carcass crumpled in their lair. Then, howling, they descended from the sky to mourn their kin, and Perseus took off his cape and wrapped her head therein. He kept his eyes averted from the horror in his hands, and left the winged Gorgon sisters weeping on the land. Then, mounting on the flying horse, he bolted for the skies, with blood upon his crystal sword and glory in his eyes. And Pegasus bore Perseus away and toward the sun, his awesome wings replete with wind, his body poised to run. He flew across the wild frontier and left the shapeless land, to skies which Pegasus had never seen so bright and grand. Above the sweeping western sea, the hero flew once more, but with a friend, his journey was more cheerful than before. They landed on some islands where the horse discovered grass and made the hero know his joy of being free at last. The 4th year of his journey, Perseus thus spent in glee, returning to the mount where Atlas waited patiently. And when the giant saw him near, he groaned aloud and said, "Fulfill thy promise, Perseus, display the Gorgon's head." And then before his weary brow, Medusa's eyes were shown, and Atlas felt relief at last, converted into stone. So now the giant sleeps forever high upon his peak, and feels no more the load that sapped his strength and made him weak. Then Perseus recounted to the nymphs his recent story, how striking down his foe earned him a friend as well as glory. He asked the maidens then, "Can ye direct me back to Greece? For I fulfilled my task, and I would see my voyage cease." The nymphs then wept and said, "Stay here, and go not home again. Without you we're alone forever, far from gods and men." But though the homesick hero would not stay, the mighty horse began to bray and whinny, showing signs of some remorse. He made the hero understand that he would not depart, for here and in the nearby isles contentment filled his heart. Though Pegasus would miss his savior if he chose to leave, the nymphs would keep him as a friend, and so not feel bereaved. The girls then gave directions unto Perseus, and said, "Accept these magic apples, on which, when a man has fed, he shall not feel a hunger pang till 7 days are done. And now thy way is east, to Africa thou hast to run. For there Poseidon gave the land of Libya to Zeus, for watering the Baltic flats to be of human use. Thy destination waits for thee, a dry and barren land, which never sees a drop of rain, but overflows with sand." The nymphs then kissed the hero, and they wept to see him fly. But Perseus leapt up again to run along the sky. Thank you. The next chapter is called Perseus in the Desert, but as I usually do, I will go sign in again, and then do a third section for the evening. So thank you.
Pregunta preguntativa. La gata con botas encuentra en la casa. Gata con botas. Una.